Welcome, everyone. We are 5 minutes away from the start. Hello, everyone. We are 5 minutes away from the start.
Come on.
Ethan,
Yep. Hi, everyone.
how you doing, buddy?
Good. We're like 5 minutes away from the start.
Yeah, sorry, dude. I just had to get on here, so.
No problem. Jim, welcome. Okay, let me get the chat going. Hi, everyone. Welcome, Kevin. Okay, Guy, if you can, send me a message in the chat. I want to make sure I'm doing it. I've set it up correctly, please.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Ethan. Thanks for hosting this for the
Hi.
shareholders. Thank you.
Okay. There's Guy. All right. Hi, Guy.
Hey, buddy.
Okay. All right, let's just wait 3 more minutes till 6, and I think we'll get some more people in. Hi, Jim. Let me check the X. Do we have? Anybody? All right, waiting on more participants. All right, I'll give it one more minute and then we'll start since everything gets recorded and I post it to the website. There's Dino. Welcome, Dino. Hello. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start, and people are going to filter in. I'll admit them as things evolve. So, welcome everyone. First thing I would like to discuss is the share price. It seems that we don't have people selling. That's huge. And it seems that we've really stabilized around the fours, 0.0004. That's a good base. I'd like to keep it that way. Volume today was decent with 2 million plus. I'd like to keep it that way. So the goal now, and a lot of the purpose of this investor relations push, is to maintain that share price base and maintain a volume that's at a minimum 2 million. Obviously, I'd like it higher. We go from there. The push also for the investor relations is to get the word out, to have transparency, and to give the investor feedback, which the investor wants. What does the investor want to know? That's always the question. That is a mechanism that I'm setting up so that I can really start to absorb the questions from people and answer them in a timely fashion. It's going to create that transparency. It's also going to create that need that somebody has to get the answers quickly. And that's the name of the game. Answers quickly as I see it. With that in mind, I want to segue to what I've done in terms of assisting with that process. That would be utilizing interns in the form of UCSD students. Right now, I have a small stable of 3. I have 2 more that are going to come on board by this weekend as summer kicks in. I have them through the end of September. And the reason for that is their school semester starts towards the end of September. So I have another solid 2 months and a couple weeks of use from them. They're willing to work for free, which is huge. I buy them some coffee. I buy them some, food here and there. For the most part, it's free labor, and I promise them they'll get a ton of experience. In addition to a lot of experience, they're going to get recommendation letters from me. I like to be able to give them a little bit of cash here and there, and I've indicated I'll do as such with them. So with that in mind, this stable of interns is very tech savvy, very social media savvy, and very overall capable. They're roughly 19 to 21 years old. They know the latest about social media. They know the ins and outs of everything tech. They grew up with it. It's like speaking another language to them at times. I need a translator. With that said, they're going to also help me. I have 2 data scientists in the mix. The 4 of the stable studies computer science in one fashion or another. And of those 2 are data scientists. That's huge because they can do a lot of data mining for the metrics of everything that I'm trying to use to promote the word of the funner community, and also to get the word out about what Funner is doing, what it's going to do, and mostly to help with the investor relations component in a logical, cohesive, and also timely fashion of delivery so that information is put out to the marketplace, the responses are captured, analyzed, and more information goes out. That's a pretty straightforward process. It just requires manpower and computing power. And with these interns, I'm going to have both. And they also have the know-how because they've done it before for projects, and we're going to go live. So a lot of progress in that respect. There's a platform at UCSD. It's called, at most of the schools, it's called Handshake. And Handshake allows access with approval, which took me almost a year to get. This access allows you to post jobs and various internships at schools, and that gets the interns to respond. I bring them on board. They do the work for me after I talk with them. So Handshake's been a mini gold mine. And in addition to UCSD, I'm going to do a force multiplier and have those students bring in other intern students for the summer to help with marketing. So that's going to be a marketing campaign which will enable the word to get out about Funner, its goals, shareholder, investor relations information, and also to generate more interest in the company, also capture the interest in the company, data mine to the degree it's possible, and generally increase the membership of the Funner community. Right now, there are roughly 1,300 odd Twitter, X members. I'd like to grow that. I don't have any social media presence on Facebook or Instagram, any of that. There are new platforms. I'd like to have all that in place by the end of July. I'm very confident the students are going to be able to have that up and running. Mostly, we want to develop the Twitter account, the X account. Biggest reason for that is it seems to be the most popular for reaching individuals, hands down. Let's go on to another subject. That's going to be the illustrious money raise. I'll just touch on it briefly. The company needs money so we can get to the next level. We have basic bills to pay. That's critical. At this juncture, shares can be really obtained from the company's treasury. We have about 900 million remaining. Just at a bargain price. Please let me know, anybody that's interested. It's a must do. We need the working capital to get to the next level. That next level can be a regulation crowd fund. It can stay also with the 506C money raise that we have going on. We have to cover basic bills. We also really need a marketing war chest. Doesn't have to be a lot of money. Even something as small as a couple $1,000s can get the word out to, no kidding, like 5,000 people with various companies that specialize in anything from search engine optimization for ads, not just for websites, for advertisements, to preferred posting of ads on various social media platforms. So instead of the company spending, $50,000, $100,000 and coming up with its own full-blown media campaign. It's going to piggyback on the existing resources out there, use a couple of companies that already have a turnkey, pay them anywhere from $500 to roughly $750 per company, and then they put the word out. That's going to yield huge, huge results. All right, so in summary, the money raise is really the focus of the company at this stage in order to get that working capital going. I'm going to do a lot of work on that and really fine tune the website and get that in order with a dedicated marketing campaign, specifically focusing on the who, why, what, where, when about the money raise, what it's going to yield, and why people should want to invest now while we're, at this prime opportunity in the company's development. With that in mind, let's talk about something cogent. That is the deal captain. The deal captain's an individual who is UPenn MBA. He worked on Wall Street for Goldman Sachs for 2 years as a junior type of analyst. And he still, hang on, let me get Nate in. He still works in that capacity. He's helping me out, friend of a friend favor. And he gives me a lot of advice about big time investment banking, how it works with multi-million-dollar deals. That gets trickled down to Funner and the investment banking money raise, that whole concept that we're doing gives me a lot of pointers about do this, do that, the actual mechanics, the nuts and bolts of how to make the money work, the money raise work in a cohesive fashion, how to make it actually function in line with what Wall Street does currently. The man is invaluable. I have him at a cut rate of $50 an hour consulting because it's a friend of a friend. It's a huge, huge bonus, and we're ready to go to the next level of the money raise. We're really solidified with the share structure, what needs to happen for everything, how the money that's taken in relates to the share structure, the share price, next stages of what happens after the, certain milestones are achieved with the money raise and the share structure. When I say the share structure, I mean the remaining shares as corresponds with the money raise. And also the deal captain knows how to weave a really good path with the story to market it to investors. Obviously, it would be great to have one or two large investors, throw down a solid investment amount and fund the whole thing at the next level. But realistically, I'll take the small bits and pieces to, bootstrap this up so we can get the platform to the next level. That next level is quite simply where we are at the stage of generating revenue. That stage, let me segue to that now. And then please chat with me about your questions or just unmute yourself and chime in, whatever you'd like to talk about. Let's talk about NutriCustom. That is the latest, and I believe the one which is going to work for the company. It's a pharmaceuticals company, just at a lower level than, like a massive company like Eli Lilly, for example. It's a field called nutraceuticals, which is FDA regulated. It stands for nutrition plus pharmaceuticals. Nutrition, nutra, pharmaceuticals, pharma. I'm sorry, nutra and pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals. What they do primarily is diet pills, kind of feel-good pills, just generally tap into the overall health supplement market. It is an enormous, enormous industry. Once again, it's FDA regulated, so it's not snake oil, it's not potions. They can't, everything's licensed, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars per product that they put out. The machinery is very expensive. I posted a video that the founder, his name's Mark, sent to me today of their operation. It's really a cool operation. I've actually seen it in person, their warehouse facility. The machine alone, one of their machines alone, which produces gummies, is $250,000 to buy. It's just, pharmaceuticals is a very expensive process. The barrier to entry is large, and Funner is trying to piggyback with them, type of licensing agreement, something. We're going to figure it out and get that revenue going. We want to be revenue generating. We want a run rate that works. We want a recurring revenue run rate. We want to have dollars coming into the company. The founder, Mark, and I are hashing out the details of that. I've known Mark personally for about 10 years. And as I said, I've been to his location several times. It's the real deal. It's the, you know, they have clean rooms, they have the people in the white lab coats, everything. It boils down to a very simple process. They take ingredients, they mix them together, they put them in a type of vehicle which the consumer utilizes. It could be a pill, could be a gummy, could be a bar, and everything's FDA regulated. There's an enormous profit margin in this. The reason that I really like this industry is it ties into health. You know, we're trying to get something going with surface sunscreen up in Oceanside, and this just ties into that whole health dynamic, the umbrella of health, healthy living. It's a massive industry. I don't want to overuse that term massive, but it really is a massive industry. And the people with money, especially in their 60s and 70s, they want to really stay alive as long as possible, be healthy, be feeling good so they can enjoy their money. They have quite a lot of money, quite a lot of disposable income. What better way to spend it than to elongate their lives in a healthy manner and enjoy while their time on the planet is beneficial for them? With that in mind, I'm really confident about NutriCustom being able to help Funner in multiple fashions, most importantly with a revenue stream. I think the revenue stream is key because they already are doing roughly $2 million in sales a year. That's going to ramp up quickly. They're getting another machine. It's going to allow for more production. And the biggest downside to that industry is, believe it or not, it's not competition, it's labor costs. They are based in Arizona. They relocated from California right when COVID was pretty much wrapped up. Just, it's too expensive to do business in California for any kind of a manufacturing company. Between payroll taxes, just taxes, it behooved them to move the whole operation to Arizona. And that's where they're based now, in Tempe, 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 Arizona. I think they have 21 employees currently. They're looking to grow, and it's just a solid operation. Funner is always looking for candidates to join our umbrella. If anyone knows of any candidates in any capacity, please let us know. You can email me, you can call me, get the word out. We want to have as many possibilities before we actually pull the trigger and lock down something on a company. In addition, we really would like to get this going sooner than later. A lot of the challenge that the company has had for the last several years is these lateral moves. We're in one field and another field. We're going to just trim it up, and I don't think it's going to go past August 1st. before we make an official decision of this is exactly what we're doing. This is exactly what we are raising money for. This is the path forward. This is the future of Funner. Please keep in mind, I got handed just a mess. I've been at this 3 years, 2 years as CEO and sole board member, largest shareholder. That gives me the ability to get things done. I just simply can write what needs to be done. The mess has been cleaned up. I cannot stress that enough, how critical it is to have a Pink Sheets current company, in addition to have liquidity with shares that can be issued, in addition that the stock is trading. Those are all huge, huge factors. I would love for people to really embrace that concept. I would also like it if people could start to help the company with social media, specifically Twitter, and referring people to Twitter. Kind of spread the word about the company. That force multiplier would help enormously. The interns at UCSD via Handshake, they're going to be impressive in that regard. Last thing I'll say about the Nutra Custom is that with their profit margins, they have a lot of directions they can go in, and with their ability to ramp up production based upon need. They do a lot of white labeling. They're constantly looking for companies that want to do a white label. As soon as they get a purchase order, they can fulfill it very, very quickly. The profit margins on drugs are insane. That's why these pharmaceutical companies, the big ones, are worth billions and billions of dollars. They have the connection to the FDA. You get something going, you simply put your company stamp on it, your label on it, you sell it to the public or to a wholesale, you sell a wholesale. It's a license to print money. Barriers to entry are high. You have to have that FDA approval. That is not the easiest to get. Okay, with that in mind, I don't see anybody asking me any questions, so I will keep going. I think at this stage, realistically, what's going to happen is we have the share price stabilized. I've been talking with a few investors. I'm real confident of landing some investor money in the next week or so. That's going to provide the working capital I need to keep the lights on, do the basic tasks involved with the company, all the filings. I'm going to file a Q2 coming up. That's for the second quarter of 2024, the financials and disclosure statement. There'll be some juicy information on that statement. I can't disclose that, but it's going to be interesting to say the least. Currently, we're at shell risk. I'm really hoping to have that removed and we have no shell whatsoever. That would be enormous. That's at the discretion of OTC Markets. And the way that works is when we started off, we were at shell. Then maybe a year ago or so, we bumped up to shell risk. So that's better than plain shell. We're at shell risk. The next level is nothing associated with shell whatsoever. That would be really, really beneficial to the company. It then gets the eyes of institutional investors. Institutional investors are critical. They just blink an eye our way and all problems are solved. For the most part, they don't look at any company that has the word shell in any way, shape, or form associated with it. They start to look at companies when shell is removed. Everything in this game called OTC is a stepping stone. You can't skip steps, unfortunately. You go from one step to the next. Every step gets easier. So we want to keep things going up the pyramid in that cohesive and also propelling manner in which we've been doing it effectively. With that in mind, I'm really looking forward to Q3, that filing. Obviously, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but the Q2 filing, when that hits the airwaves per se with OTC markets, that's going to lay the base for what's going to be not just a turnaround for the company, but the next level. So by the end of summer, I really am looking forward to publishing our first ever actual revenue stream where I can put out some financials showing revenue. I'm looking to have our non-cash assets increase substantially, like I said, by the end of August for the Q3 filing. And also, it would be absolutely phenomenal to really have the remaining shares that we have in the treasury, about 900 million, to just have those sold to investors. We get that capital raise that will help the company fantastically. Let's keep in mind that the name of the game at all points in time is shareholder value. Drive shareholder value. That is constantly on my mind. I live and breathe this company. There's just nothing that is more important to me short of breathing than Funner, and shareholder value is right up there. I'm confident that we're going to get the shareholder value to increase after we lock down our trajectory for the current path of the company. With that in mind, let me talk a little bit about that. Let me enumerate the points for the path forward. Number one, we get working capital that allows the lights to stay on and to do things such as really make progress with Surface Sunscreen, really make progress with NutriCustom, lock down these licensing agreements, whatever arrangements we work out, get revenue, cash flowing into Funner. Then point two, we get the share structure much more evolved. There are many, many things which can be done with the shares. I hear them all. I'm very well acquainted with the possibilities. That is in the works. I know everything that can happen. I know the cost, the timelines, very, very doable, but it's part of the process. Once again, with OTC, you cannot skip steps. You have to do things step by step. That allows transparency to investors. It also allows for a good governance and regulation of the marketplace. Point three in this process is actually getting the company dedicated with what it's doing for business. So let's talk about what we're going to be doing and much more talk about what we are doing for business, what's working, how much money we're making, and where we're going with the business that we're actually doing to generate revenue. Those are the focal points that I'm trying to accomplish by early August. By the first week of August, I would like to have that nailed down, just ironed out. I think it's extremely tenable. We do not need a lot of money to get to that stage of taking in our first revenue. Obviously, we want money, so we have a bit of a war chest in reserve, and also, to pay the basic bills. I don't make any money at this. I'm just, I have shares, as everybody knows. I can't sell them. They're restricted. I'm an insider. So I have to make this work. My heart and soul is in it. I'm confident it's going to work. I don't want to keep giving the rah-rah. I want to show demonstrable results that illustrate the profitability of the company, the revenue generation of the company, and the clear-cut path of the share structure, where we're going next. While I'm at the helm as CEO, we will not ever do any kind of a new issuance of shares or anything to dilute the shares. Read my lips. We will not issue new shares. So with that in mind, I always get emails and I see on the chat boards, they're going to issue new shares. They're going to dilute the shares. No, I'm not going to do that. That doesn't help me personally. It definitely doesn't help other shareholders. It's just a bad deal. Companies that do that, the reason they do that is it's a get rich quick scheme, which ultimately really doesn't work because people see through it for the most part. There's 1 or 2 days of the pump and then the dump, and people get in trouble with the SEC for doing that. In addition, it's not a good long-term strategy. I have a very good long-term strategy for shareholder value with solid revenues in established businesses which flow money. I want the revenue streams to get money into funders' coffers, obviously. With that in mind, that's the business model. We then go forward. That path forward will look transparent. That enables the stock to grow. It's a real simple process. It's taken quite some time to get to this stage. So in summary, while we've got just a couple minutes longer, there are going to be a lot of website developments by this weekend. I know the website's not the best. Please understand, it's not my concentration. I'm not a web guy. I have somebody that's helping me with it, basically on their spare time, because again, it's a friend of a friend. It's an Indian developer. Every component of the vital things for the company take just time and time. Luckily, I've been able to get a couple of the key individuals like Jack Runke, the CPA, to just be really patient with getting paid. The attorney, Fred Lair, has been extremely patient with us about money. Everything takes time because it has to be done in accordance with the SEC. So sometimes I wake up, I would love to be doing certain things, have to put my hat on and do the most important things to keep the ship afloat and regulatory wise in good standing with the SEC and OTC markets. So in summary, for that point, there will be a much, much, much better website. The interns are going to help me with that. I'm now going to really stress investor relations. That's going to segue into the money raise, wrap all that together in a delivery that will help people understand what's going on with the company, what's the path forward, and also when is all this going to happen. One thing I would love to have on the website, and I'm going to do this also on Twitter, on X, is start to be more concise with my time frames to the degree I can disclose things. By this date, we're going to do the following. We did this by that date. I want to really start to timestamp things in terms of efficacy. That will get things to the level we need. It will help me with planning. It will help the shareholders with the transparency they really need and want. And it gives a guideline for everyone to follow. Okay, as always, thank you everyone for your time. Email me, call me.
Ethan, I have a comment.
Yeah, what's your comment, Kevin?
Well, it's a comment and a question. One, thanks for driving shareholder value. You have a fiduciary duty as the senior board director. Thank you.
Mark, it's going to cut off automatically, so please make it quick.
Oh, no worries. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, just there was a lot of comments on here about certain parts of it, and I'm glad that you have somebody else that basically is a heavy hitter on that deal captain part, because at the end of the day, this is very simple. It's basically on DealStream and on S Mergers and other sites, there's hundreds of thousands of companies that are looking for a public vehicle. So one of the greatest assets that Funder has is being paying current with the transfer agent there. So thank you for this call. It's been great.
Okay, thanks. We'll do another one next Tuesday, same time. And as soon as I can get a larger audience, I'll be fine doing more of them. That's the name of the game now, investor relations and getting the Funder community built up so that we have people that are following us. Please refer people to Twitter, X for us. That will help a lot. We have 1,300 followers. Let's double that. The intern said they're going to help me double it by mid-August. I'm real confident that's going to happen. Okay, everyone, I believe we're about to run out of time. Thank you, and I look forward to next week, same time, taking everyone up to speed with another Zoom, and that will be Zoom number 3 in 1 week. So until then, look at Twitter/X. I'll give you updates on that as I know things. And then also